So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. You get back here, BSN Network. This is BSN Network podcast here today. It is Monday, January 31st. Hopefully everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Monday, January 31st here today, coming off another big night last night in sports. Big night yesterday, big day yesterday, big weekend in sports. It is going to be a very quick podcast today. I know there's a ton of news to get to. I know there's this crazy amount of stuff going on, but I wanted to talk about the NFL games, obviously, yesterday. I know the whole Tom Brady retirement situation, and, I wanted to get to Brian Dable and his introductory press conference. There's so much to get to. Today's going to be a short podcast, probably only about 20 minutes. Like I said, Mondays and Wednesdays, due to timing with my schedule, I only can do 20-minute podcasts. Like I said, these podcasts, I work around my schedule, right? I wish I could do if I had the choice, I would do these things 5 hours a day every day. I could talk sports for hours and hours and hours on end. I could. But due to timing, due to scheduling, I'm only able to do a 20-minute pod today, about 20 minutes. So, going to try to be as quick as I can. Going to try to get as much information out there as I can. So, we'll get to the NFL recap, but a great weekend in sports. Kentucky gets the win against Kansas. Move up to number 5 now in the AP poll. So, top 5 in the nation now is the Kentucky Wildcats. Just a big win. And it's not even just the fact that we won. It's how we won. And we blew them out. We gave them no chance. We blew them out. Blew them right out of the water. Dominated them. And, blew them right out. What was it, like 80-62 or something? It was something around there. They blew them out. And, 80-62. Just wanted to double check. So, 80-62, you blow them out. Rangers got the win yesterday as well. It was ugly, but it's a win. A win's a win. You know how it is. Can't complain. I don't complain. I know Golan had his choice words if it was ugly, and I don't disagree. It was an ugly win. It was definitely ugly. It was ugly. One of our uglier wins of the season. But hey, it's a win. It goes down as a win. It doesn't go down as a win, but it was ugly. It goes down as a win, and you move on. You got the Florida Panthers tomorrow night, which will be the final game of the first half of the season, and then you have a 2-week break. All-Star break will kick in. It was also supposed to be Olympic break, but no Olympics, obviously, for the NHL players. So a 2-week break, come back, and hopefully, Rangers come back in the second half of the season the way they had a first half, which is a very solid first half, and you hope they come back in the second half. But a game tomorrow night. Nets day off today. They play the Suns. Brutal loss for the Warriors. Why is Steve Nash not challenging? Who knows? The Knicks are back in action tonight. The Knicks are back in action tonight. They're back at home against the Sacramento Kings. The Islanders are day off today as well, along with the New York Rangers. Alrighty, so a lot to get to in about 20-minute span here. Only got about 15-20 minutes left. So we're going to get to the NFL recap, give you all you need to know. Rams win, Bengals win. Sorry, see what happens when I talk fast? So, Bengals win, and the Rams are in the Super Bowl. I'll give you, everything that happened in the game. Bengals are going, Rams going. Should be a lot of fun. Not going to reveal my game pick yet. I'll reveal that Friday of the weekend. So, really pumped up for the game. Look, this is going to be an exciting matchup. No matter what you say, you could say, oh, I want to see this. It's going to be an exciting matchup. You got two high-flying offenses. You got two defenses that made big plays in their respective championship games. The Bengals coming up big and shutting down Mahomes in the second half. They went into halftime. The Chiefs got off to a 21-3 lead, and they lost 27-24 in overtime. So, you talk about a turnaround. You talk about the defense stepping up and making plays. You talk about the offense turning things around in the second half. That was all great. We'll get to the New York sports update shortly. Not much going on tonight in the world of New York sports. The Knicks are on. Both hockey teams off. Nets are obviously off as well. So not a crazy amount going on, but the Knicks are back home tonight against the Kings. 7:30 Eastern start at the Garden after their little road trip that they were on. Alrighty, so a lot to get to here in this short period of time. With all that being said, this is the BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so, hey, AFC and NFC championship games did not disappoint yet again. And the more and more we watch these games, the more and more it shows. Wild card weekend was just completely terrible. And like I said, I said this a couple weeks ago. I said this last week. Like, I think we all found ways to try and think that wild card weekend was not terrible, but it was awful. It was not good. It was not a good weekend. There was not very good games. I mean, the games were all really bad. I mean, the best game was the Niners-Cowboys, and even that game was kind of the Cowboys trying to make a last-second comeback. It wasn't like anything where it was like crazy tension. Last week's game where I witnessed, I think, the best game I've ever seen in my lifetime, which was the Bills-Chiefs. And in these games were great. You see a 21-3 comeback. You see a 10-point comeback in the fourth quarter in the Rams NFC Championship game. I mean, just some crazy comebacks. And the comebacks really helped my game pick. Because I will tell you this. As much as I am a believer in the Bengals, and as much as I've been believing in the Bengals, I've been riding on the Joe Burrow Bengals bandwagon since they got to the postseason. As much as I've been riding on the Bengals, I did have a second there where I lost a little bit of hope, where I thought, oh yeah, this game's done. When they got out to the 21-3 lead, and it looked like the Bengals were doing nothing, and then Uzomah goes out with the knee, and you hope it's nothing crazy, especially he's an impending free agent, so just for his sake, you hope it's nothing crazy, because that could really hurt his impending free agency. I'd assume he goes back to the Bengals, especially if they win one. But either way, he goes down. It's like everything that could have went wrong for the Bengals went wrong. But they were able to come through. They were able to battle. And I feel like that's kind of the way the Bengals have played this season. Like, they've kind of played this season not with the underdog mentality. Like, I know Joe Burrow said that they're not underdogs, but let's be real here. They are kind of the underdogs. Like, they've been underdogs. I know they hosted the wild card game against the Raiders, but not many people expected this out of the Bengals. I mean, not many people expected them to go on the road and beat Tennessee. I mean, I think people did, but I think a lot of people with Derrick Henry returning and stuff did not expect them to beat Tennessee. I don't think not many people at all expected them to beat Kansas City on the road, especially the way Kansas City beat Buffalo, 42 points. It's hard to beat a team when they put up 42 points, and that's against a good Buffalo defense. Buffalo's defense is significantly better than Cincinnati. I mean, Buffalo statistically is one of the best defenses in the league this season, and the stats show it. I mean, I know they had some, the whole final 13 seconds and all that. That's all. It was terrible. But throughout the season, statistically one of the best defenses, and for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to do that, for the to do that against the Bills was wild, and that's what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can do. And when the Chiefs got off to that 21-3 start, when they got off to that start where they were rumbling and just driving downfield and scoring, and the Bengals just not finding any rhythm, and it was super weird to see it out of the Bengals, because the Bengals are a team who tend to just score, and they tend to just outscore their opponent in terms of who's going to score more touchdowns. And the Bengals tend to do that. But yesterday, the Bengals won that game with tough, gritty football. It wasn't the prettiest game ever. It wasn't the prettiest win ever. But it was tough. It was gritty. It was the guys going into the locker room and looking at that score and saying, hey, look, we're down 21-10. All of this work we put in this season to get to this point, we are down by 11 points going to halftime. Chiefs get the ball to start the half. I mean, the Chiefs got the ball, too, to start the half. And then you go through so much. And the Chiefs gave this game away, really. I mean, the Chiefs completely gave this game away. Because, nobody's going to talk about this. But before halftime, you had the dumb play call to go, I don't know if you want to call it dumb, but Tyreek Hill not making the smart decision. They ran that screenplay or whatever. It was one of those plays. Tyreek Hill got it, ran, tried to get the edge. He was about 2 yards away and got tackled. That was it. Chiefs had no more timeouts. Instead of settling for the field goal, that was it. Butker, Butker didn't. I don't think Butker missed a pick. No, I'm thinking a different game. Matt Gay missed the kick earlier in the Rams game. But the Chiefs, you have that play earlier in the half, and then you come out in the second half, you're like, all right, the Chiefs get the ball. And that's the crazy part, was it was 21-10. And when the Chiefs had like 3 seconds left and they're on like the 2-yard line, you're thinking to yourself, the Chiefs are going to score. It's going to be 28-10. Then they're going to get the ball back to start the second half. And they might score, and it might be 35-10. We're talking about the Bengals we're talking about this game getting out of hand 5 minutes into the second half. 21-10, Bengals come out, they stop them with 3 seconds, stop them with under 10 seconds left, in the first half, come out in the second half, play big defense, shut them down, start getting some pressure on Mahomes, and then the Chiefs offense takes over. 11 points in the third, 3 more in the fourth, and then obviously 3 in overtime, and this time, And I got to admit, I was one of the many fans watching this game that when the Chiefs won the coin toss, I'm not a Bengals fan. You know me, I'm a Jet fan. I'm rooting for the Bengals. I think it would be a great story to see them win, especially being a Jets fan. Like, I know what they've gone through. They've gone through 31 years without a playoff win, 31 years of pain. Us Jets fans have gone through, pain and pain and pain over and over again. We know how it feels, right? And they've never even won a Super Bowl. At least we have one Super Bowl. I mean, that was, 3 years ago now? Something like that, right? 1969, 2022. Yeah, what is it, like 53 years now? So, all that stuff. But, for the fan base and for the loyal Cincinnati fans and for the city, for the city and all that stuff, it's great. It's great to see, and I think it's a feel-good story. Like, this Cincinnati team reminds me a little bit of last year's Buffalo team, right? A smaller market team, a team that has had the history has not been great. They've had years and years and years and years of losing. They finally find their quarterback. They finally get some weapons around him. After 6 wins in the last 2 years, you think, oh my God, Zach Taylor. After 6 wins in the last 2 years, for a team to this season win 10 games and go on the road in the divisional game, win. Go on the road in the AFC Championship game, win. And now you're here, California, SoFi Stadium, biggest stage of them all, and you have an opportunity to take home the Super Bowl, the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And I think that's just great to see for the Bengals. And I was happy for it, and I was really happy for them, and to see them come out and win that game in overtime. And that's how overtime should be. Both teams get the ball. That is how overtime should be. It should not be coin toss, oh, boom, 3 plays later, game's over. Both teams should get the ball. And by the way, Jesse Bates with a huge play, the interception on Mahomes late there, huge. And then for the Bengals to just run and ground and pound and limit the mistakes. Don't make that costly turnover that Cam Akers had last week against the Buccaneers. They did it. We got in field goal range, and it's money Mac. What do they call it? McPherson money right on the dot, and they get the win. And the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. I don't think I ever expected to say that this time of year. And for Jets fans, look, I'm not saying that the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl this year, but look. Right, it's any fan base out there. This turnaround offers hope to any fan base because it's like, and like I said, I'm not saying the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl next year. I'm not saying, who knows when the Jets are going to make the Super Bowl ever again? Who knows? When that day comes, I will explode. But I will be ecstatic when the Jets win the Super Bowl. I don't know when that will be. Who knows? But when that day comes, that will be the biggest party I've ever had. What I'm talking about in terms of like, you look like this is what you call a true turnaround. A team that has won 6 games in the last 2 years. A 4-win team last year. A team who lost Joe Burrow, who tore his ACL mid-year. To have that happen in your rookie season is not good. To have one of the worst offensive lines in the league, which they still do. But they overcame that. And for a team that has been so bad for so long, they haven't had a playoff win in 31 years. I believe it's 31. That long to now be where they are now is just wild. And Joe Burrow, man, what a couple years hits has been. National champion, Heisman winner, Super Bowl, possibility being the Super Bowl winner, and maybe Super Bowl MVP. But Bengals are moving on. And look, the Chiefs just, they lose. I mean, it's not like this is one of these things where, do the Chiefs have to go back? No. The Chiefs are going to be here for years and years to come. The Bengals just played better, and they played better late. And the Chiefs, let's be real here, they shot themselves in the foot with a lot of errors. I mean, the late play at the half, the interception late by Mahomes, just a terrible offensive play in the half, getting outscored 14-3 in the second half. I mean, that can't happen. That cannot happen. Blowing a 21-3 lead is an excuse. Like, you cannot try to find ways to cover up blowing a 20. You blew a 21-3 lead. lead. You cannot let that happen. And the Chiefs did. And the Bengals are going to Super Bowl 56 for a matchup against the Rams, who also got the win yesterday, 20-17, and another comeback. I know they had a stat on the TV. I don't know if I'm completely right on this, but it was something of the effect of the first team in NFC in the NFC Championship, like the history of the NFC Championship for a team to come back down 10 entering the fourth quarter. Because the Chiefs were down 17-7 entering the fourth quarter, and they have the ball. They score and all that stuff, and they obviously win 2017. But the big storyline in this game is not only is it Jimmy G's possibly final game, and the last image of him in the Niners uniforms, not going to look great. And look, if you're a Niners fan, I get the frustration, right? He didn't have a great year. Postseason wasn't great. The Niners were a definition of an old school, tough, gritty football team that ran the ball a ton. That's the reality of it. They didn't need any star quarterback. They didn't need any They didn't need a quarterback to throw for over 300 yards. And Jimmy G's not that guy. Jimmy G's your average quarterback that can, throw the ball 20, 25 times a game, which he threw 30 yesterday. And he didn't play bad. I mean, look, late in the game when you're under 2 minutes to go, you have a timeout. Jimmy G making that pick, I know in the heat of the moment, if I was a Jet fan and Zach Wilson threw that, I probably would be very angry and I'd still be steaming. But just from a fan standpoint, like, the interception late, I know a lot of people today are talking about it. A lot of people are saying, oh, how bad that was and he should have just took a sack. Look, under 2 minutes to go, the last thing you want is to take a sack. When you're in a 2-minute offense, coaches, players, they will always say, the last thing you want to do is take a sack. Also, the last things you want to do is turn the ball over. But taking a sack and letting the clock run, especially a sack like that, he was scrambling, he was running. That would have been like a 5-10 yard sack. To have to get up to the line of scrimmage, you were already backed up. To have to be backed up more, you're just not in a good situation against one of the best defenses in the NFL on the road. Although, I got to admit, Niners fans showed out. I mean, that stadium was pretty much red. And it's kind of disappointing that the home team had to use a silent snap count. And hey, look, they got the job done. They did. But I know everyone's talking about, the Rams are going to have the home field advantage and stuff. Not really. The Rams fans were outnumbered yesterday. It was a good 80-20. It was. I mean, that stadium was red. And maybe it's because red pops a little bit more than blue because everything else in that stadium's blue. Maybe it is because of that. But, I mean, it just looked for me. And third down, the Rams knew it. You could see. The game plan switched. They had to run the silent stop count. But for Jimmy G, look, his run's over in San Francisco. I think it's obvious. I don't even know. I still stand by this. I mean, if they would have won the Super Bowl, who knows what happens? I don't see how you can get rid of a quarterback after he wins you a Super Bowl. But, they just crumbled late. They crumbled late. And the Rams are, like I said, at the end of the day, this game, and I know that another big storyline too is the interception, which, look, Jaquizy Tart, he's got to have that play. I mean, he has to have that. I mean, that's in your hands. And I understand always a corner and always falling, but no. That's in your hands. He said it. He's got to make that play. If Tart makes that play, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. Maybe this wouldn't happen, but if Tart makes that play, we're talking today about a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. We're not talking about a Bengals Rams Super Bowl. We're talking about a Bengals 49 Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium. That's what we're talking about today. Because if he gets that interception, they were around midfield. The Niners get the ball back. They could have they could have had a lot of clock, tick off. The Rams don't score. I mean, the Rams kick a field goal that drive, but still, Rams don't get any points. You might, instead you might get the ball and come away with points. Like that, not having that interception is huge, and that I think was the real turning point in the game. I also think, in a way, that kind of sucked the win a little bit out of the Niners defense, and I think Tart too. You could tell by his body language, you had that right there. Like very rarely, especially Matthew Stafford, as good as he's been this season, right then and there, it's like you have the ball, like it's coming at you. Very rarely do you see Matthew Stafford, a quarterback of that caliber, make a throw like that. When that happens, you got to take advantage of it, and they didn't. And that's a big reason why they lost. He makes that interception. Niners get the ball back. There's a good chance they win that game. They go down and score and steal that game. But that didn't happen, and they fall 20-17. And for the Rams, look, and I continue to say this all these years. And somebody I was talking to today, all these years of Matthew Stafford being a Detroit Lion, never winning a playoff game. I think he only got there once, never won one. All of these years, I don't even know if he got there. I'm not even sure. All of these years of Matthew Stafford being a Lion and still showing he was a solid quarterback with not many not crazy weapons. I know he had Megatron early on in his career, but Megatron was gone, and he still played another 5-6 years without him. I think he played more years without Megatron than he did with. I know he had Galladay and Marvin Jones Jr. towards the tail end, but still, those guys are not Cooper Kupp or not Cooper Kupp level. You just give them weapons, you put them in the proper offense, you give them a true running back, you give them an offensive line, you put them in the right system, you put them in with the right head coach and Sean McVay. All of these years of Detroit Lions having Matthew Stafford and Matthew Stafford being a Lion, all of these years watching that, it just goes to show you how much the Lions held back Stafford all these years. I think Stafford has finally unleashed. He's finally unleashed, and he's finally that guy. And the Bengals definitely got to watch out for that, because I saw a lot yesterday. Not only did they work the tight end, Higbee went out, backup tight end. I forget his name. Bland, huge game, 5 catches, 57 yards. Seems like he had more than 5 catches. They were throwing it to him, And, obviously you hope that Higbee's okay. He's a big part of that offense. But unless if Blank could do what he did yesterday. But all of these years of him being a Detroit Lion and showing that he was a solid quarterback. He wasn't anything special. He's solid. Now you put him in the right system, the right situation. Sometimes that's all you need. And these are the exact players that you look at and you go ahead and say, that's how important it is to surround a quarterback with talent. Because I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, when you see quarterbacks playing well and stuff, it's like, oh, great, they're playing well, good. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, I know they got talent. But when they don't have talent, it really shows. And it's crazy what a quarterback with true talent and in a true system can do. And a quarterback with little talent and not a great system and not a great situation can do. It's completely different. I mean, Matthew Stafford's an average quarterback on the Lions. And right now, he's having a great year. And he's one win away from winning a Super Bowl. Something he never came close to doing with the Detroit Lions. So it just goes to show you the switch. And look, Rams took a gamble. They're getting there. Rams went all in. But look, they went all in. They went all in for Beckham, went all in for Von Miller. They don't have a first-round pick until 2024. They traded, 4 of their first-round picks, something. They gave away a young quarterback in Jared Goff. I know everyone has mixed feelings. They got veteranized Beckham, Von Miller, Stafford, all that stuff, right? You went out, got all those guys, and now you're here. And the point of getting all those players was to win this game. So that means nothing if they don't win this game. So Rams, they go all out. We'll see what they can do. They got the win 20-17 over the Niners. And look, Niners, I pleasantly surprised by them. Look, I could see them maybe taking a little bit of a step back next year, and I'm not saying that because Trey Lance isn't good. I'm just saying that because that's just typical for a quarterback in his first season. A quarterback in his first season, you need to expect him to take a little bit of a step back. That's just the reality of it. So, or the team as a whole, because he's got to learn, he's got to develop. It's not going to be a smooth sailing. Jimmy G's been in the league now. He sat behind Brady, the all-time great. I mean, you sit behind Brady, you learn a lot. So, Trey Lance, next season, I expect, if you're a Niners fan, you expect a little bit of a drop-off, but not a crazy amount. Because, he's going to have those rookie, he's going to have those rookie games. He's going to have to, he's going to have to develop. He's going to have to learn. We'll see how everything goes in San Francisco. So, Bengals-Rams Super Bowl. And by the way, the early odds are out. Rams open as a 4.5-point favorite. So, early odds are out. And I know most of you know this, but NBC's got the Super Bowl this year. By the way, for my game picks, I went 2-0 this weekend. And I did predict correct the McPherson field goal to win it. So, I said the Bengals would win on McPherson field goal. So, pretty proud about that. My record now is 180 and 104. So, 180 and 104. So, I got to 180. That's what I said I wanted to do. I went 2-0 this week. So, overall now in the postseason, 12 games in, I'm 9-3 overall in the postseason. And now the Super Bowl's coming up, and we'll see which team I predict. And I think most of you probably know, but we'll see how it all plays out. Alrighty, so quickly we got to get to the New York sports update here and the regular all around the league. Tonight in the NBA, we got the Pacers, Clippers. I'll give Pacers to win. Grizzlies, Sixers. I'll give Grizzlies to win. Actually, give me the Sixers. Cavs, Pelicans, Cavs to win. Celtics, Heat. I'll take the Heat. Knicks, Kings. Give me the Knicks. Hawks, Raptors. I'll take the Hawks. Thunder, Trailblazers. I'll take the Trailblazers. And Warriors, Rockets. Give me the Warriors. College basketball, I got 2 top 25 games tonight. Duke, Notre Dame, give me Duke. And Baylor, West Virginia, give me Baylor. NHL, there's 5 games on tonight. Panthers, Blue Jackets, I'll take the Panthers. Blackhawks, Canucks, give me the Blackhawks. Maple Leafs, Devils, I'll take the Maple Leafs. Red Wings, Ducks, give me the Ducks. And the Oilers, Senators, give me the Oilers. And as for fantasy basketball, I did lose this past week. Just team a little too injured, team a little too banged up, just did not have enough in the tank. I lost 1,309 to 1,281, so just didn't have enough. Today I've got going Darius Garland, Buddy Hield, Desmond Bain, Brandon Ingram, Rashawn Holmes, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, John Collins, John Morant, and Tyrese Maxey. Some injury update, Garland's day-to-day. He's questionable for tonight's game with low back soreness. Brandon Ingram still out with the ankle. He won't play tonight. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander still the ankle. Kelly Oubre is dealing with an ankle. Still Wednesday's game still up in the air. And Jokic is also day-to-day too now. He's questionable for tomorrow's game with right toe soreness. And Donovan Mitchell still dealing with the concussion. So those are just some of the updates. Team's definitely banged up right now. Definitely banged up, no doubt about that. So hopefully these guys come back sooner rather than later because these are some big pieces. But anyway, that'll do it. That'll do it for the podcast. So that's what I got for fantasy basketball. And the rest, tonight you got the Knicks on. Both hockey teams' day off. Nets' day off as well. Much needed by them. And the Nets are just... I want to talk about James Harden so much, but there's so many other big stories going on. Like James Harden just... Oh, my God. Hey, there's so many things I want to say about him. I could spend 2 hours ranting on James Harden right now. And it could go all the way back to when we made the trade. Because we should have never made the trade in the first place, but we did. And it hasn't worked. Say what you want about last season. Say what you want about last season postseason. Did we win the finals? No. We didn't win the finals. So all he did last season postseason means nothing because we didn't win it. And oh my God, he's just been terrible. And just, he's not even playing, but the hand soreness. And he doesn't even look like he wants to be there. Like, if he doesn't want to be there, get rid of him. Get rid of him. I see why now Houston fans hate him so much. And why they boo him. Because he's not loyal. You can't trust him. Frustrating. Anyway, that'll do it. Enjoy if you're a Knicks fan tonight. See if they can turn things around. Kings team that's like 18-33 this year, so a struggling team. Knicks need to get back on track. They're a 12 seed, I believe, right now. They keep losing, they're going to sink quick. So see if they can get back on track tonight. Some good college basketball games, and yeah, that'll do it for this Monday edition of the BSN podcast. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.